Good evening, everybody. Welcome to CW Live. We're back live this time. We did a chat, recorded you the day, didn't we? So we've just had a really good day, I felt, from an observational perspective. First day of the Postal Senior Reps briefing in Liverpool. I'm going to ask Terry to tell you a little bit more about that. Terry, I wonder if you just want to just give an overview and maybe take one or two questions. Is that okay?
Yeah, we're up in, as Chris said, we're up in Liverpool. I mentioned this on Friday. We've got all our senior field officials in the room from all our different functions, as well as Royal Mail letters, parcel force, our engineer colleagues, etc. Everyone's here, and the postal executive here as well, and of course our comms team. And it couldn't have come at a better moment, really, in terms of where we are in the negotiations. I touched on some of the problems in those talks on Friday, and they are genuine, they are real problems. A number of things seem to be in confederacy against us, not just the pandemic, but also a regulator review, and I think extreme pressure being put on by shareholders on the board, etc., etc. So it's been an ideal time to get everyone together, our senior people, to tell them where we are in the negotiations, and to, as we've always done, transparently determine our policy for how we take things forward. Now, I know people get it was obvious from some of the comments on Friday, people think it's as simple as just nailing a pay deal. I wish it was. I truly wish it was, but there's a lot more involved. So, but if our activists, our senior activists are going to help us, then they have to know and understand the same detail, the same sort of things management are saying to us in the negotiating chamber. They need to hear it from the horse's mouth here. And that's what's happened this afternoon. We've had two presentations from Royal Mail. One on the need to create the opportunity and the pipeline to grow parcels, and not just smaller parcels, the bigger parcels as well, and how we deal with that and how we cope with delivering that, welcoming the revenue, but how we connect the vast majority of it with our letters, because that's extremely important. And also we've had a presentation on the finances of the company, updating us where they were a few months ago when they went out to when they would have reported that to their employees, etc. And also about the regulatory review that's coming up, which could affect the USO, but also other fundamental parts of our operation that are protected by the regulatory framework. So those presentations, Chris, you've been in the room, have all gone on. There's been some terrific questions from our activists, and all of that's going to help us determine how we take things forward in the next few weeks.
Thanks, Sal. So there's over 2,500 people I can see online with us live with no planning, which is fantastic. You might be wondering why Terry and I are coming at you from slightly weird camera angles. Yeah. We are together for the first time since the start of the pandemic, which is great, but we're also making sure we adhere to social distancing rules, etc. Terry, one of the things that I found interesting, and I know many members would be today, is although obviously there's no agreement yet, and you've outlined last week in your update how tough the negotiations are. Can members take a positive that Royal Mail are in the room, we've got them back in the room, we've got them explaining their plan, we're holding them to account on their plan? Is that a step forward in some capacity?
Yeah, I think a lot of the challenges haven't necessarily changed greatly, but I mean, it is a fundamental difference, isn't it? In the Rico Beck era, they just wanted to tell the union what they were doing, and that was the end of it. I mean, we are in a negotiating room, but it's frustrating because there's so many things connected to it, and we're trying to piece that forward. You know my view, I said it the other day, I think the joint statement we signed should have released a pay deal for our members by now, but that's mixed up in all the complication as well. And of course, they got their shareholder AGM tomorrow. But it's most unusual for the company to come here today. And basically, I think what our senior activists have had is a pre-run, really, of what's going to be said at the shareholder AGM tomorrow. And that's probably a first. But from a union point of view, Chris, you made the point about the way we're having to sit, and it's easy to forget, why we have to do this sort of thing. But the fact that we've pulled this off as well, I mean, we've got about 70 people here. You can vouch for the fact that our members can't see, but we've got a massive room, round table event, only 3 to a table, and the hotel has been absolutely fantastic in making sure all the rules are being adhered to. And I know for a fact Royal Mail were impressed that we had pulled this off, and we're interested today to just see it as well. So we're the first that have gone out, I think, and arranged an event of this size. I would say we're probably the first in the country, but I think we're going to benefit from it, definitely.
So moving on then into tomorrow, I know we're going to do a podcast with your officers talking about the individual aspects and functions that they represent. But once again, I mean, today, if you like, our senior reps have been able to hold the company to account. Tomorrow, it's reversal. They start to hold the officers and the union to account. So it's a really engaging couple of days you've set out here.
Yeah, I mean, in the negotiations, it's proper engagement, isn't it? I mean, years ago when I first came into the union, the national sort of headquarters talks and just came back to you with what it was, and then there'd be the battleground would be at conferences and things like that. But that's not how we've done it. For a long time now, this union's fully inclusive. We're very transparent with our activists. In fact, that transparency produced a document which is with all our policy in it on all the different issues, and is that what we're pursuing in the negotiations. So management have given a backdrop of some of the really difficult stuff that's got to be factored into any agreement today. Tomorrow we will tell our colleagues where we are in the talks, and again, but they'll be able to question us. They'll be able to questions as well. But what we're really looking for is input. So what we're saying, I mean, these are senior, experienced activists. So what we're saying is a lot of people don't get this opportunity. You've got the opportunity now to tell us what you want us to go and negotiate. So have input into our evolving policy. So that'd be the opportunity tomorrow, and I'm really looking forward to it. I've got to be honest with you.
We'll get you obviously tomorrow again to wrap up the session, if you like, and see what your thoughts are. But I was wondering if you sort of got some sort of closing thoughts of how today's gone as an event for the union.
I think it's very good. I think, as always, despite how we feel about Royal Mail and where we've been over the last few years, our activists are always very respectful when we're getting this. And we've got detailed information there today, which some of it is sensitive to the market. And to have that in advance of a shareholder AGM tomorrow, I mean, whether you like it or whether you don't, you can't question the fact the company has come down. We've asked for it, and they've come and delivered. And it really is. I mean, we are still really positive about the future of Royal Mail. We've got to fend off these potential attacks from people in the regulatory review. But in terms of if we could carry on as we carry on now, I'm adamant that we could turn this company around. Do you know what I mean? It's just got to be done in the right way, and shareholders have got to back off a little bit. I mean, we're going through a pandemic, for Christ's sake. It's what are we suddenly going to make a knee-jerk reaction to smash up this public service that has proved so valuable through this time of crisis, and they want to react so quickly? Why? Because they want a shareholder return, not because it's in the best interest of the people of this country or our members. So we're in there fighting for that. We're in there defending that. But I'm adamant, if we're given the right amount of time to deal with this, if people understand that this year is effectively almost like a year like we've never ever had, unprecedented because of what's going on, and we don't know where that's going, do we?
No, we don't.
So this is the wrong time for people. That we've seen surveys now. Royal Mail are still massively the most trusted online provider in this country. You know what I mean? But there are those, you can listen to too much doom and gloom. There are those who want to destroy it for no other reason and get a nice few quid in their bank account. And I think we defend it. I think what we've heard today is massive food for thought for our senior activists. They will totally understand this isn't easy. These aren't easy times, are they? So people who think there's a simple solution, that's fine. That's their opinion. But if you was in the room with us and if you was in the room today, you couldn't possibly come to that conclusion. And we will find a way through it. And this will massively help us, I think, the negotiators when we get the feedback tomorrow from our people.
There you go. Thank you, Terry. So I hope you've all enjoyed this slightly unusual broadcast. You can see 3,500 of you online now, which is absolutely fantastic. As I said, we've got a podcast with the officers coming your way tomorrow, breaking those functional issues out. And then Terry, ahead of getting back into negotiations next week, will join us tomorrow evening for a final update. Good night, everyone.
Cheers.